Good evening. Let's pray. Father, we just thank you tonight for your love and your grace and your goodness. Thank you for a beautiful day, God, that you've given us. Father, we thank you for our city, our community, God, that you have given us and given us the responsibility and you have caused us to dwell. And tonight, Lord, I know over the last couple of days, Father, things have been upside down. I know, no doubt, for the mayor and the council, Lord, there's a lot of questions of how and what to do and how to move. And God, I just declare tonight that your word said, I will look unto the hills from which cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord. That God, you are our strength, you're our peace, you're our hope, and you're everything that we need. So God, I speak peace to our community. I just speak grace and mercy over each one, God, and your great love to constrain us. And I pray for your wisdom and your guidance, Lord, to lead our council, our mayor, and all those that are involved in leading our city, that we may lead quiet and peaceable lives. So God, we give you praise. We give you honor tonight. We give you thanks in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor. All right, we don't have any study sessions tonight. We do have a number of presentations, and I will begin those down there. Well, it is that season of the year where the city does a lot of celebrating and appreciation for various departments that we have here that serve the public. And so we've got several of those tonight where we just want to take a time to highlight some of the different departments we have, the vital work that they do. And so I appreciate a number of you all being here for this, and we'll move on with the thanks. First, we have Public Works Week proclamation. Is there somebody designated? Oh, okay, come on up, sir. All right, well, we could talk on and on about Public Works, but the proclamation says this, Brock. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as waters, sewer, streets and highway, public buildings, and solid waste collections. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public work officials. And whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Stacy Kinder, Mayor of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, do hereby proclaim the week of May 19th through the 25th, 2024 as Public Works Week in the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and I call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bliss.
We are greatly appreciative of the proclamation for this week. Public Works works very hard in doing anything and everything they can to make this city as great as it is and keep things maintained as well as we can. Our guys work hard, and we have a really good crew and a really good staff, administration staff that keeps us going. So, and a great council that supports us. So, thank you very much.
All right, next we have a Police and Telecommunicators Appreciation Proclamation. Who do we have? Are you the lucky one? Yeah. That's right. That's right. Well, and this is a timely proclamation. I will talk more about that in a moment, but right now there's some good, important words that I get to read in the proclamation. It says, whereas the Cape Girardeau Police Department's mission is to protect life, property, and the rights of persons, to enforce ordinances and laws, to preserve peace, order, and safety, and uphold the highest standards of law enforcement. And whereas the Cape Girardeau Police Department has made significant strides in enhancing public safety through advancements in technology and officer training, strengthening relationships with the community through crime reduction initiatives to safeguard our streets, implementing a co-responder unit and hosting countless community engagement efforts. And whereas the Cape Girardeau Police Department serves a community of approximately 40,000 citizens and provides law enforcement services for approximately 28.4 square miles. In 2023, the Cape Girardeau Police Department responded to 43,179 calls for service. And whereas the prompt response of law enforcement and their service is critical to the protection of life and the preservation of property, and whereas it is important to acknowledge the dedicated services provided by the Cape Girardeau Police Department to our community and to honor all of our law enforcement officers who, through their courageous actions, face unexpected dangers daily and make sacrifices to protect our rights and freedoms. And whereas communicators are vital partners with our law enforcement and fire personnel by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them with information, and ensuring their safety. The dedicated service of public safety communicators is a silent service, seldom observed by the public. They serve as an indispensable link between the public and our officers and vital support services, exhibiting compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Stacy Kinder, Mayor of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, do hereby proclaim May 13th, 2024, as Cape Girardeau Police and Telecommunicators Appreciation Day, and urge all citizens to join in honoring the men and women whose service and sacrifice have contributed substantially to keep our city safe, our citizens safe, and build a strong, safe, and resilient community.
I didn't realize I'd be up here tonight. Thank you, Mayor, Council, Dr. Haskin. Everything Bruce said, I'd just like to repeat, just insert police for public works. But thank you for your support. I can't really ask for any more than that. So we appreciate it, and I know all the people that work at the department appreciate it as well. That's it for me, unless, Rick, you have anything to say? No. Okay.
All right. Next, we have firefighter and EMS Appreciation Proclamation. Who's it? Come on up, Chief. It's a big day. A lot of important proclamations. Thank you for being here. All right. Whereas on June 22nd, 1860, the City Council, under Mayor John Albert, submitted Ordinance Number 84, providing for the purchase of a fire engine and the creation of a fire department. And whereas the Cape Girardeau Fire Department plays a critical role in ensuring the safety and well-being of over 38,000 residents, with 4 strategically located fire stations, they are well equipped to provide prompt and efficient responses to emergencies. And whereas in 2023, the fire department responded to 6,774 calls for service. Of those calls, 56% were medical emergencies. Our dedicated Cape Girardeau Fire Department endures a very dangerous calling, constantly faced with the unknown and the unpredictable throughout their career. And whereas the Cape Girardeau Fire Department, along with emergency medical services, continue to look for innovative ways to use technology to implement modern methods that help to safeguard and preserve life and property against the elements of fire and disasters. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, emergency nurses, emergency physicians, trained citizens, and other medical care providers. And whereas it is important to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers and our and our fire department. They engage in countless hours of specialized training and continued education to enhance their life-saving skills and provide a vital public service to our citizenry. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Stacy Kinder, Mayor of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, do hereby proclaim May 4th, 2024 as Cape Girardeau Firefighter and EMS Appreciation Day, and urge all citizens to join in honoring the men and women whose dedication and professionalism have contributed substantially to the quality of life here in our city. All right, you guys say something too.
Well, I'll keep it short. I appreciate everyone's support in the fire department. Appreciate the council and Dr. Haskin and staff supporting the fire department as well. It's a great honor for us to be able to provide the services we do and to the city. And that's all I'm going to say.
That's great.
Short and sweet.
Thank you very much. Yep. Yeah. Okay, well, those three departments represent a lot of the employees that we have here in the city, and they obviously do some vital work that really, without which our city wouldn't be a city. So thank you all again for all that you do, for sure. Next, we have just completed the most recent Citizens Academy here in Cape. And we have some graduates here that we want to recognize and thank them for their attendance and their contribution. So I will, let's see. Nicolette, I'm sorry, where's the, sorry. Oh, no, and the, are you going to give them the, oh, got it. Okay, so sorry. All right, we are proud to recognize 14 Citizen Academy graduates and participants this go round. They met with department leaders, toured facilities, and learned more about what the city and county agencies do to serve the citizens. We appreciate your commitment to this community, and we hope you'll help us promote and continue to build the program when the committee meets this summer. When I call your name, please join me for an individual photo, and then step to my left in front of the council to await a large group photo. So first we have Thomas Blattle. Thank you very much. Next we have Jeffrey Bullard. We next have David Cantrell, our very own. There he is. You made it. Oh, wait, scoot over. Next, Lucas Cook. Joshua Hubbold. I said that right. Jeff Long. Sir. Lindsay Mopen. Did I say that right? No, not here. Okay. Brittany Myers. Lou Pikert. Stephanie Price. Shannon Scherer. Yep. Sharon, that's what I said. No, I didn't say Sharon. It's Shannon Scherer. I'm so sorry. Shannon? Sharon. Sharon. That's what it says. I didn't say that.
Okay.
My fault. I'm so sorry. I've said too many words already. Sharon Scherer.
Right.
Got it. Thank you again. Yes.
Did you get a picture?
Yes. One more time. Let's get this right. So start all over. There we go. There we go. Nobody will forget. Big smile. Sharon, thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Zachary Strong, sir. And last but not least, Sarah Young. Okay, so a group photo, please. Council, would you mind to stand, please, for the photo? And just be patient with me while I figure out the stance. Thank you. Big smiles, everyone. Thank you. All right, thank you all so much. Yes, sir. Please, sure. Anybody else feel the need to jump up right in?
I wanted to thank my academy mates for waiting for me. This was supposed to happen 2 weeks ago, and we had a vacation plan for months. And I asked them if they would wait till the 20th, and they all agreed to do so. And I appreciate that, because going through the academy in itself was a fantastic experience, but also the friends, the acquaintances that I made along the way, I think you all would agree was half the fun. And if anyone has not attended the academy, it's free, it's of no charge other than a little bit of your time. And Nicolette, don't hide. All you got to do is contact this lady back here through the city webpage to do so. And you will have an eye-opening experience as to how your city and your county works if you don't know it already, which I didn't. And I thought, since I was going to take that seat, I better. So thank you all for waiting for me. I appreciate that.
All right, our last presentation tonight is from the Southeast Missouri Regional Economic Development Incorporated Group, or CMO Ready. We have Mr. Shad Burner here tonight.
Yeah, Mayor, Council, thanks for having me tonight, Dr. Haskins. They asked me to come in and give a brief presentation on CMO Ready, what we've been doing the last year or so, and what we have planned ahead. You have in your packet one-page handout on that, and I'll just go pretty quick. I do want to say, Dr. Haskin asked me to keep it around 3 minutes. It's hard to get through all that. I'm more than happy to meet with any of you individually. If you don't have my contact information, certainly some of you do, but reach out. Dr. Haskin does, Mayor Kinder does as well. So my name is Shad Burner. I am the management consultant that is overseeing CMO Ready. For those of you who don't know, CMO Ready is the economic development organization. Used to be known as Magnet in the area, and we're tasked with doing economic development for the city of Cape, the city of Scott City, Jackson, and Cape Girardeau County, as well as some regional efforts. Over this past year, we have been evolving as an organization. So we went from 11 partners at the beginning of the year. Partners are funding partners of the organization, including the municipal organizations and county, as well as private sector folks, to now 26 funding partners as part of the organization. So this has allowed us to raise an additional budget to go out and do some work. But it also, more importantly than that, it has put some of the top-level executives with regional businesses around the table as we make decisions for part of economic development in the region. So that's a big win for us over the last year. We've also been working on a strategic plan. When I came in July, we didn't really have a strategic plan that we were working toward. So I started pretty aggressively working on that. And in January, we passed a strategic plan that will drive our efforts moving forward. That plan has been sent to the city, and it can be sent to you all digitally. I didn't have them printed. I don't think you have copies printed, because it is 17 pages, so I didn't want to waste that, but certainly digitally can get that to you, and I'm happy to go through all of that. Everything else that we're doing moving forward will drive from that strategic plan. We've also been awarded 2 different grants to fund a regional industrial feasibility study. Those 2 grants come from the Economic Development Administration for $63,000 and the Delta Regional Authority for another $63,000. So together, that's $126,000 to do a study in Perry, Cape, Scott, and New Madrid counties to look at our available industrial site property, and then also to look at what industries we should be targeting. We've done some of this in the past, but it's been a long time since we've really driven into this to see where our efforts should be focused and targeted. So that study we just got funded, and we just started the work within the last month, and so we're looking forward to getting that. And also of note, that's our first cooperative project with economic development in a broader region in a long time. So that's a really important step forward as we think about how we do economic development as a region and not just in our individual communities. We also announced just a few weeks ago, of course, we do the work in City of Jackson as well. We announced an expansion of a facility there, $5 million investment, 70 jobs. And this is a huge project, a huge win for the region. We were also able to leverage that for a $750,000 community development block grant to expand a road in that region, which is a really exciting opportunity. So when you look at the grant funds we've pulled in over the last 12 months, it's nearly $1 million in new dollars to our community based on the work that we've been doing. And then finally, we were able to get some grant money to do a study on entrepreneurship through the Missouri Technology Corporation. So looking ahead, when I came on, part of the effort was let's get the organization in a place where we can go out and find a CEO to run this thing full time. So we have hired an executive search firm to do that. We've gone through a first round of interviews, and we went out and decided we wanted to expand our search a little bit. So Dr. Haskin is on that search committee with me and several others. There are 9 people in the community doing that. So we're moving in that direction. We still have some work to do, but hopefully very soon we will be able to get a full-time CEO in here. The first thing that we have to do once we get that CEO in place is hire that number 2 position, which will serve in that local economic development capacity, which is really critical for the City of Cape, City of Jackson, Cape County, and Scott City. Somebody to really be your key point of contact moving economic development forward for the region. So that is top of our agenda. Next, the last thing I wanted to talk about briefly is that all of the strategic plan is being driven through the efforts of working groups. So everyone on that board is a member of a working group, and then those working groups are in the 5 different areas that you see in front of you. And then we are using that to drive our efforts. So what I listed was probably the biggest initiative out of each one of those working groups, but it's certainly not all the initiatives. When you look through the strategic plan, there's a lot of other stuff that we're working on. But I wanted you to see just kind of the key big areas that we want to work toward. So that was the big stuff. That's the big highlights. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions. But as I said, I'd be more than willing to sit down with each of you individually and go through your thoughts about the future of economic development in the area.
Any questions, Mr. Barner? I would just like to add, I've learned a lot being on the SEMO Ready board. But one thing I've learned too is that this model is doing what is proven to be successful in areas across the country. And the regional approach, I think, is most essential and intriguing and new. You want to just expand on that a
Yeah,
little
I'd be
bit?
happy to expand on. So when I, prior to this role, I was the Director of Federal Initiatives at the Missouri Department of Economic Development. I lived in Cape my entire working career, so over 20 years. But when I sat in the seat on the leadership team at DED, I saw areas of the state that were doing this really well. As a region, they were coming up to us, they were talking to the director, talking to their elected folks, and they were coming together in alignment with a vision. And because of that, they were getting a lot of attention and support from Jeff City. What I also saw at that time is that, frankly, Southeast Missouri didn't have that kind of effort that was collective. So I was really excited to join this effort that was happening that was still in the early stages, because I think we have so much opportunity to regionalize, to think about what we're doing in economic development and approach it in a different way than we have in the past. So there's still a lot of runway ahead of us, and we've just started to lay the foundation. But the future of this, when we think about the region, you think about depopulation of Southeast Missouri. You think about the flat GDP growth of Southeast Missouri over years, and that impacts the city of Cape dramatically. And so we have to be working together as a collective region to improve those things. And we don't have all the answers. I certainly don't have all the answers, but we got to have the right people around the table talking about it, or we'll never address the problems. And so that's what we're trying to do. That's why we are moving in this direction. And as the mayor said, I think regionalism is key to all of this. And that's why it's one of our working groups to really pull in our partners and figure out how to do this better.
Okay.
I just want to jump in and say I'm really excited about the future of this. I have been a huge proponent over the years of getting somebody to do true to form Cape Girardeau economic development. And so once we get that CEO in place, we can move forward with that. I want somebody that is out there talking and representing the city of Cape Girardeau for talent development, for talent attraction, for business development, for business attraction. On a daily basis, 24 hours a day. I want that person to have a cell phone that a business that wants to locate to this community can call and find resources. So thank you for presenting tonight. I look forward to the future of this. And yeah, I think it's bright.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Berner.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, next we will have communications and reports. I would like to dive in first on this and touch base on the shooting incident that we saw happen here at the Show Me Center yesterday here in Cape during the Cape Central High School graduation. I was there as a parent of a graduate. My son is a proud member of the Central class of 2024. And I say that with all the sincerity I can say, because there truly were a lot of proud students there yesterday, a lot of proud families. So much for this graduating class and Cape Central High School to be proud of. And it's just absolutely tragic when we see, violent choices of a few people that can ruin what was I could say was up to that point a community-wide celebration. That event just reflected so much positive things throughout the community, and it was one of those rare times when the whole cross-section of our city was there together and celebrating our young people and the things that they have accomplished and what they're planning to do. Before I even left the parking lot with my son, I started receiving emails and phone calls and texts. I'm sure many people did throughout the city. It seemed like beyond our city and even beyond our state, people were finding out almost immediately about what was happening. This was a truly tragic situation that got caught a lot of people's attention. Most of those communications were offering support and prayers, and were greatly appreciated, not just by me, but I know by everyone who was receiving those kinds of messages. And there were thousands of us in attendance, and so I know all that was greatly appreciated by all those and people who were connected to people who were there. It was a traumatic event for those of us who were there who experienced it, and it's a traumatic event for our community, even if you weren't there, even if you're not a Central family or connected in that way. For our city, this was a traumatic thing. There were also some immediate questions of concern, asking what the city plans to do to deal with this kind of gun violence. Those are natural questions to ask. On that note, I just had 3 thoughts that I wanted to share tonight. First, there is a current ongoing investigation into what happened. And none of us here can speak to any of that. The Cape Girardeau Bollinger County Major Case Squad has been activated and will be alerting the public to any updates in the case. I can personally attest to hearing all sorts of rumors and misinformation that is flying around through conversations and social media and all the rest. And I'd just like to assure everyone that the public will be alerted to the correct information when law enforcement deems that appropriate. Okay. Secondly, there was a lot of immediate and near future decisions needing to be made by various organizations that are involved in any kind of large scale gathering that we see. Most notably our school district, SEMO, and even the city. These organizations are currently, even today, beginning conversations or continuing conversations about decisions that may need to be made rather immediately or in the near future regarding safety, regarding changes that may need to be made. And they will be alerting the public to what those decisions are in a timely fashion. I would just ask everyone to make sure you have access to the information you're looking for, either in text or email, registration, being connected to your media preferences, social media platforms from these organizations. There's a lot of information that's coming out hourly, it seems like right now, but certainly in the days to come. And thirdly, on a bit more of a long-term note, there are issues and needed changes in our community that have to be addressed. There are multiple ideas and concepts being developed that have been in the process of being developed by various organizations on this whole topic of gun violence, of public safety. Those are extremely complex. And then there are other issues that come up in those conversations. All of these issues bring up a lot of long-standing, at times, some long-standing issues themselves. And so addressing them is not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick. Addressing them, though, will require some very good community engagement. And so I believe in the near future, our community will be hearing more about that from various organizations that are interested in that kind of work. It will be essential. We're talking about, we're not talking just about mechanisms in the city or the way the police department interacts or laws. These are things that speak to what is going on in our community with people. And those are difficult things. And those are going to be tricky things to talk about. I would just, on that specifically, I would just urge that we proceed with a focus on unity. And I sometimes even hesitate to use that word because it can kind of be just a catchphrase that we toss around. But on this issue, I mentioned unity because I've already seen just in the past 24 hours how language is important, how things we say, especially perhaps anonymously, can be causing the opposite of unity at a time when we as a community going through something very difficult really needs some very thoughtful communication and working together if we're going to be solving some things. So just wanted to mention that. This city, I think we all are motivated, by our work and our involvement because there are such amazing attributes of Cape Girardeau. Every one of us is a big fan of this city. I know you all, you wouldn't be sitting here tonight, here in the audience or tuning in if you weren't also. So I know that's a passion for all of us. I would say too that the public school district is a reflection of all those attributes, of the wonderful qualities of our community. I've been a parent in the Cape Public School District for a long time. My 4 kids are proud graduates. I have, in-laws that are all proud graduates of Cape Central High School. There are some things about this community and about our school system that are just really unique and very special. I think I have always sensed a profound appreciation for the diversity and the uniqueness of every student, what different families can bring, and really the potential that our school district sees in every child that walks through their doors. And that, I think, was what created the huge enthusiasm that was in the Show Me Center last night, as graduation was starting. It was really neat to see. And I think the profound concern and hurt that people are feeling now is actually a reflection of the deep love that we have for that school and for our community. And so I think there's some important things in the future that are going to be taking place. And I really welcome people who really want to be a positive force in some of the change that we know that we need to be talking about. That's it for me. Would anybody else like to say anything? No? Okay. Thank you. Moving on. We have several items for discussion tonight. One, is there anyone to appear as an advisory board applicant? No? All right, seeing none then. Next, we have the Planning and Zoning Commission report. Mr. Martin.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nick Martin. I'm on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I apologize for my casual attire. I've got to get over to Arena Park and coach a baseball game as soon as we get done here. And shout out to the Parks and Rec Committee over the last few weeks as well for keeping as much rain as they've had. They have done an incredible amount of work on the fields.
Well done.
I'll say on Thursday last week, I know they started working on the fields at like 5 a.m. and at 5 p.m. they were still working on them. We got to play 1 inning of baseball and they got stormed on. So they had to go do it all over again the next day. But thank you guys. Anyways, okay. So from our last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, the first item, this was on Monday, May the 20th. No, that's today. The first item on our agenda was the zoning upon annexation of property 212 Misty Hollow Lane. The request was to zone the property as R1 single family suburban residential upon annexation. Recommendation from it was approved. Vote count 8 in favor, 0 in opposition. Any questions? Second item was 2637 Veterans Memorial Drive Development Exception Code Exceptions. This is combined within 3 exceptions, so I'll go through each one of them. Request 1 was to provide 2 40-foot wide drive openings, maximum 30 feet width. Provide plantings in landscape islands instead of street landscaping strips. Number 3, reduce parking lot interior landscaping from 15% to 10%. And recommendation was approval on each one of those. 8 in favor of all 3 and 0 in oppositions of all 3 of those. Any questions on that item? Okay. The last item was Prominence 1 subdivision record plat. This plat creates 12 single-family residential lots and 1 common ground lot for a stormwater detention basin at 3101 County Road 620. The recommendation was approval. Vote count 8 in favor and 0 in opposition. And those are the only 3 updates from our last meeting. Any questions? All right, thanks,
All right.
guys.
Thank you very much. Next, we have our consent agenda review. Dr. Haskin. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Would you allow me 1 alibi?
I don't know. What's the alibi for? I'm concerned.
I was in such deep thought of your comments, and I failed to, I wanted to, 1140th Engineering, Missouri Guard, got his deployment orders today, and we had a deployment ceremony. And it's hard to get past, the tragedies of yesterday overshadowing anything good. And I was honored to speak to the families and to the men and women of the 1140th. Secretary of State Ashcroft was there, and as well as many general officers and brigadier general of the battalion. And I just want to ask everyone to keep them in your thoughts and prayers before you go to bed at night, because it's those men and women and those like them that allow us to go to sleep under the blanket of that security and peace. And those families at home, I let them know that any council member in their ward, or if they just wanted to call me, if they needed anything, don't hesitate to reach out, as we take care of our own, and as we will. Thank you.
All right, yeah, thank you very much for adding that. Yeah, great. Okay, I'm sorry, Dr. Haskin.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We added number 8 for your review tonight. We are ready to execute a general services agreement with Lockmuller for infrastructure work, street projects, and the like. We're actually excited to add these guys to the list, because that means that the more engineers we have involved in the process of engineering our streets, we can get those projects out a lot earlier and get some streets fixed, Mayor. That's the only item that we had for review. Mayor, that concludes the agenda.
Thank you very much. We will now move into regular session. Mr. Taylor, will you give the roll call, please?
Mark Bliss. Here. David Cantrell.
Here.
Stacy Kinder.
Here?
Rhett Pierce.
Here.
Dan Presson. Here. Tameka Randle.
Here.
Nate Thomas.
Here.
All right, thank you. Council, we have an agenda before us. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Randle, Mr. Thomas, any discussion? All in favor then of adopting the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That agenda carries. We have 2 public hearings tonight. First, I will open the public hearing to consider the proposed voluntary annexation and zoning of property located at 212 Misty Hollow Lane. Is there anyone here wishing to speak to that public hearing? Oh, okay. I will close that public hearing. Secondly, I will open the public hearing to consider vacating the city's interest in an approximately 20-foot wide part of Northwest End Boulevard right-of-way adjacent to 689 Highland Drive. Is there anyone here appearing for that? No? All right, I will close that public hearing. We have a consent agenda before us. Mr. Young, would you please read the consent agenda?
Bill 2450, an ordinance amending Chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri by changing the zoning of property located at 728 Good Hope Street in the City and County of Cape Girardeau, Missouri from C1 to R3. Bill 2450, an ordinance amending Chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri by changing the zoning of property located at 728 Good Hope Street in the City and County of Cape Girardeau, Missouri from C1 to R3. Bill 2451, an ordinance approving the record plat of Latham's first subdivision. Bill 2451, an ordinance approving the record plat of Latham's first subdivision. Bill 2452, an ordinance approving the record plat of Sire Enterprises subdivision. Bill 2452, an ordinance approving the record plat of Sire Enterprises subdivision. Bill 2453, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of special tax bills for various properties for the demolition of dangerous buildings and for the abatement of nuisances located in the City and County of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Bill 2453, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of special tax bills for various properties for the demolition of dangerous buildings and for the abatement of nuisances located in the City and County of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Bill 2454, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Lockmuller Group for engineering services in the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
All right, thank you. Council, is there a motion to
So
approve the
moved.
consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Bliss? Thank you, Mr. Presson. Any discussion? All in favor then of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That agenda carries. We have one item removed from the consent agenda. It is Bill 2455, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with KCI Construction Company for improvements at the wastewater treatment plant in the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Mr. Pulley.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Dr. Haskin. This agreement is with KCI Construction Company for the improvement at the wastewater plant. This agreement is for the wastewater plant, not the water plant that we talked about last meeting. We have two plants in the city of Cape Girardeau. We have a wastewater and a water plant. The wastewater treatment plant treats the sanitary sewer. Examples, everything that goes down your drain. So the water plant is your drinking water. So this agreement is just for your wastewater plant only. All the city wastewater enters the plant via 60-inch pipe that is 59 feet below the ground, the surface. The current basket screen must be cleared manually, which employees must go down in the area to clean the screens out. We have large items that go through the 60-inch pipe that either goes down the drain. We have industries with large drains, plus your manholes on your streets. Things get into our sanitary sewer. This equipment will allow our sanitary sewer to be protected. If we can't have things to protect this, large items can go in, damage the pumps, which will shut down the actual sanitary sewer plant, which in turn shuts down everybody's sanitary sewer. This is a new bar screen. It's mechanical in nature, a lot safer for the employees, and it protects the plant. This began back in 2019 with engineering studies. It has been fully funded through the sewer fund for the past 2 years.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this issue? No? All right. Council then, is there a motion to approve Bill 2455?
So moved.
Dan, thank you. Mr. Cantrell. Discussion, any further discussion, council?
Well, you know, there's one thing that you really unalienably can't deny, but is the necessity of both a water treatment plant and a wastewater treatment plant. And so any type of upgrades that we can get to keep those processes flowing on, you know, the intake and the outflow is positive. So the fact that this is paid for by the sewer tax, I think that's an excellent use of these funds to make sure that we're up and running and constantly up and running, because I think the last thing anyone would want would be a shutdown of our wastewater treatment plant. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? No. No, okay, sorry. All right, yes, I concur. You said it well. Yeah, we've been talking about the faucets, and this is the drains and flush, right?
Yes.
They're both essential, that's right. Okay, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of Bill 2455, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. We have several new ordinances on tap. First is Bill 2456, an ordinance vacating the city's interest in a portion of Northwest End Boulevard right-of-way adjacent to 689 Highland Drive in the city of Cape Girardeau. This is the first reading. Mr. Pulley.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance vacates the city interest at 689 Highland Drive. The city does not need this right-of-way, and there's no utilities under the right-of-way. This was a very large right-of-way and is not needed by us.
Thank you. Is anyone in the audience wishing to speak to this? No? All right. Council, then, is there a motion to approve Bill 2456?
So, second.
Bliss, Mr. Thomas, thank you. Any further discussion?
I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank staff for their work on this. This is an issue that's been brought to my attention since I first was appointed to council. And to finally have this, you know, one, to have the nice northwest end there redone in front of that area, but then to have this confusion of the ownership of that parcel of land, you know, fixed and rectified. I appreciate your efforts in that. So
Thank you, sir.
Great. All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor then of Bill 2456, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have Bill 2457, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute supplemental agreements with Bacon Farmer Workman Engineering and Testing, Inc. for the design of sidewalks along North Cape Rock Drive in the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. This is the first reading.
This is a supplement agreement with Bacon Farm Workman Engineering for the design of the sidewalks at the North Cape Rock area. This is in the TAP grant for 2021 and 2022. The scope of this work has changed. We will need to acquire a couple driveways to continue this construction.
Is anyone in the audience wishing to speak to this issue? No, seeing none, then council, is there a motion to approve Bill 2457?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Presson, Ms. Randle, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor then of Bill 2457, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. We did have two appointments tonight. One appointment for the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. That selection was Mr. Thomas Drummond. Congratulations to him. And then, excuse me, sorry, is there a motion to approve?
So
Sorry.
moved.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, who?
Oh, that was-
Mr. Thomas.
yeah.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Cantrell, thank you. All in favor then of voting for Mr. Drummond, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great, he is now in officially. Congratulations to him. And then we had one appointment to the Tax Increment Financing Commission. That selection was Liz Haynes. Is there a motion to approve Liz Haynes for that?
Second.
Thank you, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor then of Liz Haynes for the TIF Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Congratulations to her. Other business tonight, this is a chance for people to register to speak to something not listed on the agenda. As always, you will have, we did have 4 registrations for that. You will have up to 3 minutes to speak at the podium. Please introduce yourself and I will just remind everybody that this is not a time for the council to interact or to reply. This is a time for the community to just present their information or concerns. So first, we had Andrew Ostrowski. Is he here? No, not here tonight. Okay. Next, Leslie Ann Washington.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. My name is Leslie Washington, 315 North Frederick, here in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. I'm here to briefly just talk about the events that occurred on yesterday. As a person who lives in Cape Girardeau and goes to SEMO, I just wonder what my graduation is gonna look like in 2 years. Are we gonna have to have metal detectors or, you know, going down to 5 or 10 tickets for our guests and our family members? And once again, this has happened in our community, and we do have to come to some sort of resolution. And so I'm just asking the city and the community to wear orange on June the 7th for Gun Violence Awareness Day. There will be an event in the Peace Park from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we're just inviting the community to come out and stand with us because we have to come to some sort of resolution. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, we have Michelle Latham.
Good evening. I am Michelle Latham, 2135 Rampart Street, speaking tonight regarding the violence that occurred yesterday at the Cape Girardeau High School graduation, and also regarding the ongoing violence that we're experiencing in our city. In the last 24 hours, we have experienced yet more shootings since that occurred yesterday at the SEMO, or at the Show Me Center, sorry. I first want to extend my prayers and concerns to all who were impacted by yesterday's shooting. It was a shooting, it was an altercation, it was a shooting. And the danger so near in proximity to our community's youth and what should have been a joyous occasion filled with hope and celebration was unfortunately interrupted by violence and chaos. I'd also like to extend a thanks to our first responders, those who were willing to risk their lives to protect others as a result of this violent act. For the past 4 years, citizens across our community have been conditioned to live in fear. Fear due to COVID, fear due to the economy, fear due to foreign entities such as MRCTI and the World Economic Forum grabbing hold of our city and those who took an oath to protect it. Fear due to crimes against persons, fear due to crimes against property. Fear has hindered many voices, but you can be sure that citizens notice and they're distressed and they are motivated by these issues. They are speaking now in their homes, their social circles, their churches, and their neighborhoods. I've had many personal conversations with folks who love our city, but they no longer recognize it. Some are now referring to our city as Little Chicago. As a resident of Cape and an owner of 2 businesses in our beautiful city, I am greatly invested in our community. Safety and security are one of the only constitutionally instructed responsibilities of our government. And our city's first priority should be the safety of our citizens and our children. Prioritizing it means that we must acknowledge that there's a problem. And although crime is everywhere, we're not concerned about everywhere. We're concerned about our city, Cape Girardeau. Financial investments have been made in ShotSpotter and license plate readers, yet every single day we learn of 1 or more shootings and more violent crimes, with the crimes being primarily located in the same areas of the city. A couple of questions that I have for you guys is, are you considering the financial impact that this has on our businesses? What are your plans to stop the madness? Should we be restructuring the parameters of the casino funds so that we can put those monies toward increased law enforcement and boots on the ground? Should we take it a step further and withdraw the $600,000 per year we've committed to SEMO, a state university, and invest those monies into more law enforcement? And should we increase enforcement of dilapidated rentals and push the slumlords for improvements in the areas that are feeling crimes the most? Cape certainly has its challenges, but none are so great that they cannot be overcome with professional leadership and a vision toward a brighter and safer, not tomorrow, but today for our community. So tonight, I'm calling on all elected servants and respected voices in the community to call for a halt of the violence. We need to pull together to find solutions to the harm that is being perpetrated on our city, and we must start today.
Thank you, Ms. Latham.
Yes,
That's your time.
and if you as our elected are currently working on a plan to right the ship, I encourage you to be very transparent with those who live here, dine here, educate here, spend their money
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
We next have Alice Jenkins.
Good evening, everyone. I didn't write anything down, so I'm just going to talk. I have been a resident of Cape Girardeau since 1990. Both of my children graduated from Cape Central High and Southeast Missouri State University. A couple of years ago, when they would come back home to visit, they said, "We don't recognize Cape. What is wrong? It's dirty." They just don't recognize the city that they grew up and loved. I am asking you all to please, with the police department, whoever can help stop the gun violence. I get notifications almost every day on my phone, gunshots heard in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. I live at 1932 Eden Way. There is an apartment building up the street. It's off of North Sprig Street. And I was told that there's drugs, there's gunshots heard all the time there. And I am asking if you all could help investigate, whatever you have to do to help investigate and stop the violence in Cape. My 2 kids, actually, I was at the graduation yesterday also. And they said, "Mama, you need to move from Cape." And I thought about that and I said, you know what? This is my first time being here. I should have been coming a long time ago to let you know my concerns for the city. I am just asking that you all will please do something about the gun violence, the drugs, whatever is happening in Cape that negatively impact, the young people that would love to move back home, but they decided not to. That's my daughter's a nurse anesthetist. My son is a manager of a lab. His wife is a nurse practitioner. They decided not to move back to Cape because they did not like the way Cape was moving. Businesses closed, the restaurants closed. So there's nothing really here that they feel like that they can raise their children here in Cape. So I'm just asking that if you all could please help us as citizens. I love Cape. I'm not moving. I'm going to stay and fight. So whatever I can do, and whatever you all can do, just please help us. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our meeting for tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mayor, may I say something, please?
Yes.
We here as council, remember, we live here too. We care, we're concerned, we work diligently with the city staff to make sure that you all are safe and we are safe too. I apologize if at a place people don't deem it safe or clean enough. But in my position as a city council member, there's a lot of boards, there's a lot of commissions, there's a lot of opportunity to serve in leadership that decisions are made sometimes before they come to council, and then we as a council decide if we want to move forward with that. So it's 7 of us, a few staff members. So my quest, which is our quest every day, because it's governing things and policies that we have to follow, is join a board, join a committee, get involved in an organization that has your passion. Because the more collectively as city council members and city staff members and citizens, then you can make a greater impact. And so believe you me, everybody here stomach turned yesterday. Everybody here on this council was in fear in some capacity. And our goal at the end of the day is to keep this community safe and clean. And that stays on our mind every day. And any way that you all feel like you can help, come talk to us in a constructive solutions way. Because I'm not down for kitchen conversations or what this person should do. Come with a solution. Come tell us how you can get involved. And typically, if people have a concern with me, Dr. Haskin probably get a council inquiry about 3 or 4 times a week. If you say you got a concern, I take it to him. I say probably 24, 48 hours, you have an answer. If you're not satisfied with the answer and something wrong with the process, then that's another level. So as we take action, because it's our responsibility, and I do not take that lightly, and don't do anyone on this council, we ask you to take responsibility and partner with us to be able to make that happen. At the end of the day, it will take an entire city, not just those in leaders, it's members, it's residents, it's business people. So my whole life has been of service, 30 years. If I never helped nobody else again, I'd have done my job. Now we need you all to help us as we continue to move our job forward to be able to serve our city in a capacity that we all can be doing the same thing. So that's how passionate I am, and so is everyone on this council in that regard. So remember that. We live here too and want the same things you want, and we're working on it.
Thank you, Ms. Randle. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mr. President, Mr. Bliss, any discussion? All in favor then of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. We are adjourned. Thank you all for your attendance.